In this video, I'm going to show you step-by-step instructions on how to replace the battery in the iPhone 14 Pro Max. If your phone's on already, power the device down and then take a pentalobe screwdriver to remove the 2 screws from the bottom of the phone. To remove the screen, you will need to get it warm, so use a heat gun or a hairdryer until the phone is hot to the touch. And whilst you're heating it up, you can take a suction cup, attach it to the bottom area of the screen and begin lifting upwards to start separating the screen from the chassis of the phone. You'll notice it start lifting, and when that starts to happen, add a couple of drops of isopropyl alcohol into the edge, then insert one of these Dorco razor blades to pry the screen up a little bit more, just enough so that you can get the plastic guitar pick like we always use, and begin separating the screen from the chassis of the phone. Just to note, these screens are very expensive to replace if you do break it, so just be very careful when removing this. Run the edge of the plastic pick along all 3 edges, leaving the top edge which is clipped in. So we're going to lift up the screen, wiggle it a little bit from side to side so that it creates a gap in the top, big enough for the guitar pick to get into, allowing us to separate the screen and open it up just like opening up a book. Unfold the screen and then prop a mug behind it just so we can free up our other hand, allowing us to do the work. Take a Y000 tri-wing screwdriver and begin removing the screws that holds down the shield across the whole of the logic board. When we swap out the battery in this model, it will come up with a warning in settings to say that the battery has been replaced, and it also will not display battery health. I'll do another video in the future to show how to replace the battery without getting that warning. Once all those screws are removed, take your tweezers and lift up that shield, putting it to one side for later. Then take a plastic spudger and disconnect the battery, followed by the screen flex cable and the front sensor cable just up here. You can now lift up the screen to remove it. Then I'm going to add a few drops of isopropyl alcohol underneath the battery at the top and at the bottom. This is going to soften the adhesive underneath the battery, making it a little bit easier to pull the battery tabs out and remove the battery safely. Whilst the adhesive's soaking in underneath the battery, I'm just going to remove the adhesive seal around the edges because we are going to replace this with a fresh dust and moisture resistant seal. So I'm just using a number 4 X-Acto blade to scrape away the old seal on the phone. With that seal now removed, we'll try and get these battery tabs out without damaging them. And the easiest way to do that is to get hold of it with the tweezers and start spinning it around a little bit whilst pulling them out at the same time and wiggling them from side to side. These are notorious for snapping whilst you're removing them. It looks like we're getting somewhere with this one, although I don't want to speak too soon. With that one out, I'm not going to mess around because it looks like it's loose enough to pop out. So this is now ready for our new battery. If you find that there's adhesive left behind, then remove any adhesive from the chassis, but this one came off really nice and clean. So I'm going to take our new battery now, which we get from a company called iParts4U in the UK. And this comes with the screen seal with it, the battery itself, and the adhesive sticker to stick it down. So we're going to get the battery now, place it face down on the desk, and remove the blue sticker from the sticker. And then we're going to stick it down onto the back of this battery. Make sure it goes this way on there because it needs to go around the wireless charging coil. Once that's secured down, just press it in to make sure that it's stuck good. And then peel off the pink part of the film and get the chassis of the phone now. Remove the blue film, and then to make sure that these sit properly, I always connect the connector onto the battery first. It's not going to do any harm as long as you unplug it before you start working on it again. Connect it into place, and that means that wherever you line it up, it's still going to be lined up and easy to install. Apply pressure to make sure that it's stuck down good and proper, and then take the plastic spudger and disconnect the battery again. We can now install the new dust and moisture resistant seal, lining it up at the top left corner first, running it down the left hand edge, and the rest of the seal will follow into place and might just need a little bit of pushing down with the back edge of the spudger. leaving behind one layer of the blue film around the edges, which we'll remove later just before we reinstall the screen. Reinstalling the screen is very simple. It's just a plug and play, like connecting Lego pieces together. We're going to plug in the screen connector first, line up and plug in the front sensor connector, and then re-secure the battery into place. This would be a good point to test the device is working fully, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to move on and re-secure down the shield that goes on top of everything. Then screw down all of the tri-wing screws that we removed during disassembly. With all 8 of those screws now re-secured, we can peel back that last layer of the dust and moisture resistant seal, fold the screen down to get the back side of it as well. Then to re-secure the screen, I'm going to drop the top of the screen in first, lining it up, making sure that it's secured down. Give it a squeeze on the left edge until it clips into place, then the right edge, and finally the 2 pentalobe screws. We can now turn the phone on and make sure that it's fully functional, but that just about completes this guide on how to replace the battery on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Thank you for watching and see you next time.